Welcome back. This project is a shaded quilt project. We're going to use organic and inorganic lines. We're going to use primary or secondary colors, and we're going to use what we've learned in regards to shading, and we're going to create this really cool project. All right, but before we get started, I want to explain to you a little bit about the color wheel. All right, so before we get started with this week's project, I want to present to you all the color wheel, primary and secondary colors. We have three primary colors. We have red, yellow, and blue. Now we also have a set of secondary colors, which is orange, green, and purple. And as you can see, those secondary colors lie in the middle of those primary colors, all right? Now, in order to have secondary colors, we mix primary colors together, okay? So let's say I take a red pencil and a yellow pencil and I blend the two colors together. I'm going to get an orange, okay? Next, let's say I take a yellow pencil and a blue pencil and I mix those colors together. I'm going to get a shade of green. And then finally, that blue pencil, and I'm going to take that red pencil and I'm going to end up with the shade of purple. Red, yellow, and blue. Your secondaries are orange, green, and purple. Now on this project, you're going to either use all primary colors, red, yellow, blue, or all secondary colors, orange, green, and purple. It'll be your choice, okay? Now let's go ahead and get started. For this project, we're going to be improving on our shading skills. We're still continuing our shading skills. We're also going to be using color for the first time, and we're going to be using a mixture of organic and inorganic line. Organic line simply means a curved line. Inorganic line simply means a straight line. We're going to use equal parts organic and inorganic lines in order to create this project. And we're going to use either a set of primary colors or a set of secondary color pencils. For the demonstration project, I chose secondary colors, orange, green, and purple. However, I'm going to show you guys how to start the project up using red, yellow, and blue. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to use a mixture of my ruler and my freehand. To create those inorganic lines, I'm going to use this ruler right here. And to create the freehand organic lines, I'm just going to use my hand. I'm going to choose one of my colors here. I'm going to say red because it's a very bright color and it's going to really stick out on the paper, and I'm going to create my underdrawing with this red. You can use red, yellow, or blue. I would just say using lighter colors like a yellow, the problem you might run into may be hard to see in a darker room. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the ruler on the paper and I'm going to draw my inorganic straight line at an angle just like so. Now going in the other direction, I'm going to draw an organic line, a wavy, wobbly line. I'm going to go back to my ruler and I'm going to put it at an angle, another inorganic line, and now I'm going to come back up with that organic line. I'm going to keep repeating this until I'm all the way at the top of the page. As you can see, so far I have 3 straight inorganic lines, and now I have 3 wavy organic lines. I'm just going to continue pushing up the paper, just like so. Now I have 4 of each. Here's a 5th line. We've been working on shading, we've been improving our skills, but we haven't done it in color. I want to make sure that colors are not touching each other. So in this large space right here, if I make this a red, then right beside it, I don't want a red, I want to put a yellow or a blue. That's going to create a rhythm in your paper, okay? You're going to have a rhythm in your project by making sure that colors aren't touching each other directly. It's also going to make it to where your eye is going to bounce around the paper as opposed to just focusing in on one specific space, because we want to create a rhythm and we almost want to give it a sense of pattern. So I'm going to start off with my red and I'm going to do this little shape right here. I'm going to shade it in. I'm going to go in soft circular motions, pressing as hard as I can. And the further away I get from my starting point, I'm going to get lighter and lighter, okay? Until I just reach to a very light, almost white, okay? I'm pushing along, I'm going in a soft circular motion, making sure that it looks blended. I'm not using my finger to smear. I'm not using a paper towel to smear. I am using my hand skills, and I'm improving on what I can do, okay? Just like so. I'm going to add a little bit over here to the side. Satisfied, okay. Now I can move forward. I'm going to take a new color in this shape right here. I think I'm going to add a blue. Remember, I don't want colors touching each other, so I definitely don't want to add a red here. So I'm going to start here in the corner, and I'm just going to shade, starting dark, and I'm going to get lighter as I go. And one thing that I found with shading that I may not have mentioned before, I'm not sure, is I like to make sure that I keep that pencil on the paper as much as possible until I'm done with the specific shape. I don't want to lift up too much. You see, I am lifting up a little bit, but not too much, because it helps me stay in a rhythm and a pattern, okay? So I just keep moving forward, pushing those colors out, just like so. Getting lighter and lighter. And this is a large shape, so I'm not just going to end the shading right here. I'm going to continue this way, and I'm going to just add some darker tones over here, just like so. Add some darker tones through here, because I don't want to leave all that space white. Darker to light, dark to light. Maybe this can be a little shadow along this line, just like that. Moving back and forth, going in soft motions, circular motions, making sure that those shaded transitions look smooth. I'm going to come back into this corner, and I'm going to start dark again, and I'm going to pull away and get lighter and lighter. Okay? And as I reach towards the center of this shape, I'm going to just continue to push, but I'm going to get lighter and lighter. I think I'm pretty satisfied with what I've got here. Got a nice little shaded transition going from dark to light, and I have it in several spots in this shape, okay? To keep that rhythm, I'm going to move on to my yellow. So right here, I'm going to do this shape. I'm going to make it yellow, and this time I'm going to start right here in this corner to give it a little bit of variety. Instead of starting in the same corner on the one side of my paper, I'm going to move around to different corners. And I'm starting dark, pressing harder. Further I get away, pressing lighter, just like so. I'm going in soft motions, circular motions. Again, I'm not scribbling. I'm taking my time, and I can see that I have improved since the beginning already. That transition looks really soft and subtle. That change between dark and light. All right, now that I've started with my first three colors, to keep that rhythm going, I'm going to bounce right back to red, and I'm going to say, where can I place a red? Right here. So I'll go in, back to blue. Okay, so I can go here and I can create a blue. It's not right beside that blue, it's across from it, so that's totally fine. So I'll go in, I'll start here, and I'll make a strip going from dark to light in this blue, just like so. My strokes are a little bit broader now because I'm in a wider shape. That's fine. And as you can see, I'm already beginning to develop this drawing. Things are seeming to go pretty well. You know, I'm learning about line. I'm using organic and inorganic lines. I'm shading within those lines that I created, learning how to control my lines better and better with each project. Okay, pushing, 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 and now I'm going to where it's getting a little bit lighter, almost that white. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stop there. They do not have to all be shaded in the same way. Leave that up to you. And what's going to happen is it's going to have a lot of variety in the end product. Along the edges, sometimes I like to darken up to give it almost a shadow look. Sometimes I just like to go along those edges and just kind of darken it. Now I'm going to bounce right back over to that yellow. We can go right here, okay? As you can see, I don't have reds touching reds. side by side. I don't have blues touching blues side by side. My yellows are spread far apart. And I'm rotating my colors because that's going to help me. So, you know, I wouldn't suggest trying to do all reds at once, then all blues, then all yellows, or if you're doing secondary colors, I wouldn't suggest you doing all oranges, then all greens, then all purples. Rotate those colors out and, you know, catch a rhythm on that paper. I'm going to go along here, shade in right here. So I think we have the general idea of what we need to do. So let's imagine that we've shaded the whole paper, okay? What I want you to do after you fill everything up is I want you to take one of your darker colors and I want you to start to trace and create shadow, okay? And I'll show you what I mean. So in the orange, purple, green batch of colors, I would say the purple is the darker color of the three. In the red, yellow, blue, I would say you could argue that the red or the blue is the darker color of the three, okay? I'm gonna use blue for this. This is what I want you to do. I want you to go into the corners of your shapes in those darker areas, and I want you to blend a little bit with that darker color going on top of the colors to give a little bit more depth, a little bit more highlight, and a little bit more vibrancy to that shape. Okay, it's gonna make it look more three-dimensional, and it's gonna make the brighter colors stick out even more. Okay, just like so. You can do it with all colors. So right here, this yellow, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna trace a little bit with that blue, and I'm going to just in the corner shade, going from dark to light in the corners. And look what happened. I've created a greenish color right there. See that? This is also kind of like a darker purple, and that's gonna make it a little bit more interesting. You know, you're learning how to blend color, mix colors together to get a new color. In this corner right here, I'm gonna do the same thing. So you can trace over your lines. You can leave some of them untraced to give it some variety. All right, and as you can see, my drawing is just starting to develop more and more. All right, and let's say you've got all of that completed. Again, you can start adding shadows along the edges by creating dark lines along the edges of each shape. You'll get a shadowy look, just like so. I can go into this yellow, create a shadow here. And it's just gonna make that drawing pop out even more, okay? And then the last thing that you can do is you can take one of your colors and then you can create these little lines, just like so. And it almost gives it like a quilted, patchy look. Just randomly put lines and you will create a patchy look to your drawing, and it almost looks like it's a quilt. I can do a little bit more mixing and add some red into that blue if I want. Create some more depth, some more variety of color, just like so. I'm experimenting, I'm getting confident as I go. So I look forward to seeing how you guys handle this project and how creative you get with it. Yes, the steps are very simple, but you can find creativity within simple projects like this. So again, this is what the finished product should look like. As you can see, I did my best to make sure that all colors were separate from one another, but hey, we all make mistakes. I actually made a mistake right here and I laid two purples beside each other. That's okay though. You learn from your mistake, you don't do it again, you keep moving, push along. I blended in some of the colors in the corners of those shapes. I created some shadows in different spots. And then to give it almost that quilted patch look, I drew those random marks with my darker color on my pencil, okay? I really look forward to seeing what you all come up with. I think you're gonna do a great job on this project. You are just continuing to develop your skills as an artist. You're learning the foundations. You're learning how to shade. You're learning about line, color, rhythm, pattern, shadow. So, you know, just do your best, push forward, and, you know, you'll be surprised what you come out with.